Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video here at tablemon. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we saw some very interesting games this past weekend at Liverpool, and even though we have Knoxville regionals this weekend, who knows, maybe this is a deck that we will see pop up just as we saw at Liverpool. So this is Liam's top 32 Arceus Rayquaza VMAX deck. Now Rayquaza VMAX, a pretty decent and powerful card that we all had a lot of hope for before the max burst attack can do unlimited damage. Combined with Fluffy, we'll expected it to be good. It didn't end up panning out that way, never really saw any competitive play. The ability Azure Pulse also pretty fantastic in terms of raw draw power, but the card just never got success, I guess, until now. Yeah, this is still an Arceus V-Star deck. The V-Star ability, Starbirth, super powerful, allows you to get any 2 cards. Usually you'll be using that to finish your setup, make sure you get the Arceus V-Star going, and using Trinity Nova to get more energy into play. And then the key card here that really helps this deck like stand out and have a lot of different options as you're going along is the Armarouge. Yeah, the Armarouge with the ability Fire Off. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a fire energy from your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So Arceus V-Star gonna accelerate a lot of fire energies into play, and then you'll be able to use Armarouge to be able to transfer those energies to whoever you need, whether it's Rayquaza VMAX or possibly Delphox V to utilize Magical Fire, doing 120 and 120 damage to a bench Pokemon, which usually if you're playing as Arceus, you're never worried about that, but now you should be in case of a Delphox V. And there's also the possibility to power up Radiant Heatran, which does 70 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Now, through Magma Basin, we are also going to be able to damage Radiant Heatran. We'll also be able to get energy into play that we can then transfer to any Pokemon we need to with Armarouge. So a lot of cohesion between this deck, but it is not playing B-Barrel. It is not playing any sort of backup engine other than the Mew EX. So my hopes for this deck are not super high. I will have to give it a genuine try. It did get all the way to a win and in for top 8, which ended up losing. It was a very weird and dynamic game against Roaring Moon towards the end. So if you haven't watched that, definitely recommend watching it. But it was all over the place, and this deck did get 2 top 32 placements at Liverpool Regional. So might be worth exploring, especially if you're a fan of Arceus V-Star decks. Maybe Rayquaza VMAX is the partner you've been looking for. I don't know, but let's jump into some games and give it a try.
If you want to support the channel, you can use code tablemon to get 5% off at Potent Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 10% off on your aluminum accessories at TC Evolutions. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. ¿Eres de México y necesitas cartas de Pokémon? Busca Hyperbeam Cards en Facebook e Instagram. Y si estás en Tijuana, búscalos en el local C27 en el Centro Comercial Otay.
Alrighty, so let's see what this deck is made of. Let's see what cool sort of plays we can make. Starting off not great with no Arceus on the bench, so that's gonna be less than ideal. We have a lot of top decks for the Arceus, but oh, all right, well, that works. Okay, so checking our prices quickly. 1 Rayquaza is priced, 1 Armarouge is also priced indeed. Doesn't seem to be anything too impactful outside of that. The lightning is available. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So thankfully we were able to get that top deck. Now I can always just V-Star for a switching card, right? So I was thinking I could go like attach, retreat into the Arceus, use the Magma Basin, get the energy on the Charcadet, and get ready. But I think it's better to just play it safe with the Arceus here. Seeing the Greninja and seeing the Psychic Sleeves, probably Gardevoir, maybe Giratina. I guess we're about to find out. My number one guess would be Gardy though, just based on the sleeves. And that's exactly right. So probably not the best matchup. We need to go very aggro very quickly, and we will see how that works out for us right here. Well, we do see a level ball for the Mew, which that getting benched, the Greninja and the active getting retreated. Overall good news in terms of us trying to get the Mirage Step. I mean, deny the Mirage Step. We do get Iono though, so maybe they're not even gonna try for the Mirage Step. So interesting that if I had Iono'd, I would have whiffed the Arceus V-STAR. So I am very grateful to my opponent's Iono. Now I will be able to Iono myself, or potentially Professor's Research. That's probably the better choice. Now we do have this spread of the Charcadet, which is interesting. A cheap attack or a quotation marks powerful attack. This attack is decent against both Roaring Moon and also Gardevoir, so there's merit to that. We do see the third Ralts getting benched, 2 Psychics in the discard pile, so definitely very little chance of any sort of Mirage Step next turn. Well, at least not the most efficient Mirage Step. So nice top deck. I'm going to play that before revealing any sort of information to my opponent. Now I am holding the Nest Ball, but I don't think I'm going to play it because that shuffles the deck, right? And then that does mean there's a high chance, well, the cards that went to the bottom, which were quite a lot, could get in the way of me finding the Arceus V-STAR, which I really don't want to whiff. And thankfully I didn't. All right, now we get to Starbirth and do all the fun stuff. Although I don't really need to Starbirth. Like, what am I missing? Do I feel threatened next turn? No. That would require Rare Candy Gardevoir EX, Rare Candy Gardy into a reversal plus another Psychic. Possible, but so unlikely. Actually, no. Reversal plus 3 more Psychics. So I'm gonna bet that my opponent doesn't pull that off. I am going to bench another Arceus, however. I'm gonna Trinity Nova. Now Drapion is also a nice way to deal with Gardevoir EX, so we'll see if that ends up being a factor. And then I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. So we'll see. Yeah, the Armarouge does allow me to manipulate fire energies. Not 100% at will, but almost. And we'll see. Yeah, we shall see what happens. So far so good. So far so good. What you would expect from an Arceus deck, especially against a Gardevoir. We also got to go first, which is fantastic. Does play a Boss's Orders to try to stall us, but we still have our V-STAR. So 100% not worried about that at all. And that's probably a bad move, or the wrong move, just based on the fact that my opponent has not used Mysterious Tail. So I'm really wondering why they're doing this before Mysterious Tail. It's not like Mysterious Tail can grab Iono or Boss. So, I mean, the fact that they got the level ball when they made it less likely that they found a level ball, never punished, right? But definitely don't do that. You know, Mew cannot find Iono or Boss, so there's no reason to put them back. Before you Mysterious Tail, you're just decreasing the chances of finding the right card. So, and they discarded Worker. So instead of drawing cards with Worker and then the Mysterious Tail and then possibly more draw with Kirlia, they chose to only draw 2. So very questionable and poor, honestly, decision making here in terms of the sequencing and in terms of maximizing the amount of cards that you draw. Now, I do have the boss. I also have the Armarouge, which is pretty nice. So definitely going to be hunting down that Kirlia. Alright, just double checking. So often as you like to return, you may move a fire energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So I can move 1 and 1, right? Can even just use Power Edge and probably be in a fantastic spot whilst keeping my V-Star available. So not bad, not bad at all. Just gonna attach here, and we are just going to Power Edge, take the KO. Of course, my opponent had an underwhelming-ish turn, but they also made it that way themselves by choosing to boss instead of worker against an Arceus deck that still has their V-Star power. It doesn't make sense, really. It really does not make sense. So we might just win off of the poor decisions and poor sequencing made so far by my opponent. Clearly, their hand is not great, but they also, like I said, they made it not great, and they're doing it once again. There's no point in playing Super Rod before you Mysterious Tail. You're just adding cards into the deck, and that decreases your chances that you're gonna be able to find an item card. They're also playing cards before using the Mysterious Tail, so unless they're actually going to play an Iono, right, there's no reason to do all of that before you Mysterious Tail. And there's the whiff, yeah, so we're just gonna win this game based off bad decisions that my opponent has made so far. We do see an Ultra Ball for another Ralts, not even a Kirlia. One card in hand for my opponent to the bench that Ralts, and that's the game. So we definitely won that game, not because of this deck strength, but because of the poor decisions made by my opponent. Let's jump into the next one. All right, so we get to go first again, which is very nice. And we do start with an Arceus, however, no energy attachment. So unless we top deck an energy, this could be a little problematic. We're also against what is probably a bad matchup right here. All right, so I'm gonna bench the Mew, as you saw. I'm gonna get another Arceus, and now we might rely on, in order to get our attack off, we might need to rely on some sort of like Magma Basin plus Armarouge shenanigans here. So I'm gonna hold off on the Magma Basin for now. I'm just gonna pass. Chien-Pao definitely feels like a bad matchup because of the one-shots, and you don't one-shot Chien-Pao, so you definitely have to try to take down the Excalibur over and over, which of course that deck tries to account for and prevent. So we'll see. Now, of course, if they don't end up benching a Frigibax, that would be fantastic news for us, but you have to assume they are going to be able to do that, right? As they do have the Irida. They probably already had it, and they were doing the very correct sequencing in terms of, all right, I thin the deck of energies, then I play the Greninja, as all the basic Pokemon are still in my deck. That way I increase the chances of finding one, and then I can just search for others with the Irida. Yeah, so pretty ideal setup so far for my opponent. Can't imagine this being a good matchup for the deck at all. I honestly can't imagine what is a good matchup for this deck, honestly. Other than maybe Charizard, probably Charizard. But other than that, I can't see what else would be a good matchup. But all right, we do find a double turbo, which is definitely one of the pieces that I need. Now, my opponent did have a pretty strong turn. These two cards are pretty good themselves, so I'm just gonna Iono to disrupt them just a little bit. I don't know what they were holding on to. All right, I whiff the Arceus V-Star. So, all right, well, you know what? I'm just gonna have the Delphox here, and then there is a universe where my opponent whiffs their setup, and then I can go retreat boss, transfer the energies to Delphox V, and magical fire the two Frigibax. So I probably shouldn't have benched the Delphox down, actually, to not let my opponent know that that's a possible play, especially with the arm. I probably shouldn't have evolved the Armarouge either. That was probably a mistake. So, because all I did was reveal information, right? That's all I did. So, now my opponent, if they're paying attention to what I'm doing, they could be more aware of it, right? Or they are aware of it. Now, a lot of players do not pay attention to what their opponents are or not doing. So, that is just something to consider. Alright, we're gonna see a Nest Ball, probably for the Manaphy. No, for the Iron Hands. Alright, fantastic news. That is my opponent probably playing an automatic pilot. Maybe they don't play Manaphy. That's another possibility. No, they got Rare Candy and Ultra Ball off of the Pokestop? Are you kidding me? No way. Alright, well, they were clearly just missing the Rare Candy. That's unfortunate. Alright, so the Delphox play is now out of commission. Yeah, so any sort of chance we had is now definitely gone because of the Pokestop. Which, what can I do, you know? Especially after drawing this horrible hand off the Iono. So yeah. Alright, my opponent does play an Escape Rope. I'm gonna bring up the Mew. So, the boss KO Bibarel plus Frigibax with Delphox V play doesn't sound horrible. Another play I could do if I top deck the Arceus V-STAR could be to go boss KO the Excalibur, which of course they struggled to establish this past turn, so we might be in a decent spot. Now that defensive Escape Rope doesn't make much sense when there's nothing that really threatens the Chien-Pao. I'm going to be very surprised if my opponent attacks me with the Radiant Greninja. I mean, we know they have 2 energies in their hand, so they might have a third. Well, they did use 1 to draw, right? So they probably only have 1. So very weird decision making for sure. So far at least. Interesting, they're just gonna attack with what? Okay. Alright, well now they have knockout with Chien-Pao. And they're gonna be able to draw a bunch of cards with the Beeb. Okay. So you have to imagine my opponent's gonna retreat KO, right? Why would they play the Escape Rope though? Instead of just knock out an Arceus, which this deck heavily relies on. Alright, they're only gonna need to discard 3 energies. So I have to make a decision. Do I go after the Bibarel this turn? I honestly think I do. KO Bibarel, KO Frigibax, and then hope I can somehow close out the game by knocking out the other Excalibur. I mean, that helps, right? That definitely is part of it. So we're gonna fire off, transfer all the fires over here. Then we're gonna go boss. Well, actually, yeah, this actually does not help. It's the opposite of helping. Right. Gonna attach 1 fire here just to be able to transfer it, I guess. And then, you know what? I'm gonna Pokestop because I really love an Ultra Ball. Okay, well, we're definitely closer to an Arceus V-STAR, but that was less than ideal for sure. All right, so eliminating Bibarel, step number 1. Ionoing my opponent next turn, with an Arceus VSTAR into 2 cards with no P-Barrel plus a potential path to the peak seems really good. Now the one thing they can do to prepare for that, yeah, assuming I don't have a way to knock them out, which they should be able to determine, is if they just load up the field with energies. As long as they do that, they're completely safe. The question is, will they do that? All right, another Beat-Up and another Frigivax immediately hit the field, which really sucks, but is to be expected, and it's a very good play that my opponent will do here. Gonna Super Cold, only needs 1 energy attached to the active to knock out the Delphox. Does decide to power up the Greninja on the bench, does choose to Super Rod as well. Back the Bibarel and 2 Waters. Alright. They didn't Pokestop. I feel like they should have Pokestopped before playing that Super Rod, just for extra thinning purposes, but all good. Alright, so they do knock out the Delphox. They choose to discard the energies of the Chien-Pao, which is, I want to say, well, it's not a mistake. Okay, so you need 1, actually, yeah. Well, I can go Boss KO the Excalibur this turn. It's definitely what I should do, right? Go Boss KO Excalibur with removing the stadium. That's definitely the plan. So we're gonna go Starbirth. We are going to grab Boss and Magma Basin. Do I ever Pokestop here? I don't think I do. Alright, so Boss right here. They're down to 2 prices, so if they have to win, they have to win. And it's no big deal. Nothing we can really do about it. We're just gonna take this KO, hope for the best. Yeah. But they don't immediately lose here. It's actually probably going to take me 3 more turns to potentially win, unless I somehow get a Rayquaza V down next turn, or I get the Heatran going, the Radiant Heatran, so which neither is looking very likely. Now my opponent very quickly promoted the Chien-Pao. Do they already have Irida for Rare Candy Excalibur? Nope, they don't even need the Irida. They just go Rare Candy Excalibur, Superior Energy Retrieval, and get the win. Maybe they don't even need the Superior Energy Retrieval. Earthen Vessel. Do they have another one? Don't believe they do. They have a Lightning that doesn't get them the KO. Right? 1, 2. Okay. Conceal cards. Yeah, so they're just trying to thin to find the Irida into the Superior Energy Retrieval into the KO. And there it is. Alright, so this deck, I don't have a lot of hope for it, honestly. How did it make day 2 and was in a win and in top 8 situation? I generally don't know. I don't know what it has a solid matchup against. It's Arceus. Rayquaza VMAX is powerful, but also requires so much setup, and after you attack with it once, that's it. It is sturdy, it provides a little bit of extra draw. We're never able to set it up in either game. Yeah, and then you have the Armarouge, that means you don't have Bibarel. You have all these like tacky options and like different attackers, but then you lose so much consistency in doing so. So this deck is a mystery, wanted to give it a try, not sold on it. It's only 2 games. If you've played with it more, definitely let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.